Okay, so you're studying borders.
Yeah.
Why borders is an important subject today?
I think in that society we don't talk the way we talk about wars is often only from a perspective of should we close them? Should we close them, or we should protect them better? We should build higher walls, or like I don't know, we should destroy borders. This is as like people want to say, oh, we should stop the borders, open the borders. Like this is as like simple as the conversation goes. It doesn't go deeper than that. And often we are speaking about migration or about other phenomena. Well, actually, in this phenomena, I think we should keep talking about the borders. I think a lot of times, yeah, the conversation about borders, yeah, should be more present. The border is it not, but the border is always different. So I think this is like the thing that everybody's focuses on how borders are different, to whom they become different, when they become different, in what ways they become different. Like they show themselves in different ways. They can show themselves to people, or they can show themselves to guys with guns. There's so many different ways in which the border can come up. And yeah, I think this looking into these differences and understanding these differences, like why is the border popping up like this now here to this person? How did that work versus this other place? I think this is what anthropologists try to understand.
I always feel like people have been moving through borders all the time, or during also human history, but only recently became problematic. It became an issue. Is that actually true, or is that my my perspective? And if yes, why crossing the borders is so difficult, and when it became actually problematic?
So I think borders are not a new phenomena. I think they always, but they're always different. So yeah, everything is always different, and it's more nuanced and more. Yeah, I think this is stupid. I'm sorry not to hear this other say, but it is true. But yeah, so like borders have always, for instance, an example, before maybe cities were more borders. So to enter a certain city, you need to have certain gateways to enter. This is especially applicable for the European context. Like to enter a certain city, you need to have the right papers, and then there was also always falsification of papers. But even before, because also the idea of like, having papers to answer something, that is relatively a modern phenomenon. That is quite new from like about French Revolution, that things started to turn towards papers. And so, so like, um, so the way borders are there, like, sometimes you have, for instance, like a sea that functions as a border, but then it's like kind of the people who say, yeah, that over there is us, and that this they make the distinction between there and there. So this was basically this is the kind of like one a very important aspect of borders is to create a there and a here, and that is something that is super old, that is super difficult to trace back when that starts. But how this border is working is constantly changing, and there are some like recent phenomena that for instance nation states and passports are only 100 years old. Like it's a really relatively new phenomena. And visas, yeah, it's actually that. So those are really modern phenomena that are connected to this transition in the world. In the nation states before there were empires, and then they were really around 100 years ago, or maybe even 50 years ago, the whole empire started to fall apart, and the world started to split up in. I'm sorry about that. Like I say 50 years ago because I kind of act like it's 2000 right now. And I prefer to Second World War, but like after the Second World War, the First World War, like a lot of new nation states were created. So it's really a recent phenomenon. And that's why in the 50s you saw like a legal nation that's now the United. pushing out with a lot of like laws and like efforts to make sure that everyone in the world has an passport. Everyone in the world has nationality. It became like a balance. Everyone is a nationality. Everyone is in needs passports. But it was more like a new way of organizing this world. And by that basically to control people and this movement in a different way. So